Okay, it is 11:11, and this is Saturday, February 21st, so it's 2211111. So that's interesting. A couple of twos and a bunch of ones. So here we are. This is another gathering of questions for the dragon. We gather every Saturday, and Jadon Se does a quick card reading for everyone present, and then also a small energetic reading of whatever's going on in the world. And then we open up the floor for questions from the dragon, and questions for the dragon, I should say, because the dragon doesn't usually ask questions. You guys do. So anyway, welcome to everyone. And while everyone is gathering, we will go ahead and start making announcements. And hopefully there are a few people gathering. I see Home Drawn is here, and the live stream takes a second to catch up with everybody, so we don't know how many people are joining yet, but it's beautiful. Welcome to everyone who is joining, and we will go ahead and do shout-outs in a moment, but for right now, there are a couple of exciting announcements. The first announcement being that we once again have our physical Oracle decks going out to everyone, and some of you are doing unboxing videos. Thank you very much. That's beautiful. And there were little gifts that went out to those who pre-ordered the decks, so we hope that you are making good use of those. If you got some sort of crystal or something energetic feeling like this, know that there are possibly little mysterious opportunities that come along with that, such as working the dragon lines or ley lines, or if you're lucky enough to get a Lemurian crystal, a record keeper, or something like that, there could very well be some sort of extra gift of remembrance, or bringing back some of your talents, or doing some grid work for Gaia, etc. And for those of you who receive these cards, know that the bottom card on the deck will come with a little band around it. And the way they come to us from the printer is card number 44 is on the bottom. They're always like in line and in order when they come to us. Well, Jadon Se, when we're packing these cards, Jadon Se knows whom each will be going to, and he will guide Stephen's hand to pull a card from the middle of the deck and put it at the end. So when you pull your deck out and look at it, it's the bottom card on the deck is a drawing from Jadon Se for you. And so look it up, and that's kind of important. Okay, another exciting announcement, and that is we've made an update to our app so that it works with the physical cards. There's now a new feature in the app. I think Apple is still reviewing it. It's live on the Android Google Play Store. We expect Apple to bless it any moment, because it's just an update, and it usually doesn't. It's usually not like going through the Council of Nicaea to get this thing going like it was the first time with Apple. But anyway, we've got this beautiful new feature where you can look up a card. So if you're working with a physical deck and you have the app handy, and say you draw a card number 12 or something like this, you can go to the app and say card lookup. Just type in 12 or start typing in the name of the card. Even the first few characters should be enough. And it'll take you right to that card in the app, so that you can hit the little play button and get Jadon Se's audio guidance for that card. So you can now use the app to have the card read to you by Jadon Se, the guidance for the card. So it's kind of fun. That's kind of neat. I don't think any other Oracle deck does that. And it's, it's just if you happen to have your phone handy and you don't want to flip around in the book and read the guidance, you can have Jadon Se's channeled voice read the guidance for you. So that's fun, and we like that. Again, that is already live on the Android. If you open your Android app, it'll update, and you'll see instead of card history, it now has a button that says look up card, and you can still get into your card history that way, but you can just directly look up a card. So that's kind of fun. That's a nice little announcement. What else? We are going to be Well, we did an interview with Lauren Gailey on her new Earth One network, and something happened to her YouTube account. So hopefully it'll still be published on time. It was supposed to go live on the 25th, which is only just 4 days from now. But I think she's having trouble recovering her YouTube account or something like that. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that that interview goes live on the 25th. Otherwise, we may have to re-record it, unfortunately. People hack into YouTube accounts sometimes, and it happens to the best of us. So we're sending our prayers out to Lauren about that, for it to be resolved with ease and grace. So anyway, there's also, as part of that, we're going to be doing some master classes over on her network. There's going to be a class. The first class will be our intro to working with dragon energies that we did with her once before. It's a 3-class bundle. The second will be working with dragon lines. It'll be an intensive working with dragon lines. And then the third class is yet to be determined, but will probably be something along the lines of working, doing timeline jumping in more detail or something like that. It'll be focused in on one aspect of working with the dragon energies. And so we just completed an abundance workshop, the keys to abundance. Jadon Se brought through 7 keys to abundance, and a number of people have been saying that was a very transformative class and really helped their understanding of manifesting. And it's much more than just your law of one or the secret sort of manifesting that we've heard in the past. These are 7 keys, each one crucial to building your dreams, according to Jadon Se. So if you want to review that, the recording is still available. You can go to the jadonse.com, jadonse.com, and just look up in the classes section at the top. There's the 7 keys of abundance. You can still get that recording if you wish to do that. And Jadon Se said working in the recording is every bit as potent as working in the live class. It's just your moment of now. Only difference is you won't have access to the dragon in the chat. So that's it. And that's it for announcements, really. Welcome to everyone who's here. We're going to do shout-outs, so go ahead and shout out where in the world you are. So I'm Steven the Channeler.
And this is Stephanie. Hello.
And we are here with Rumi the dog as well. And we are in the shadow of Mount Shasta. It's kind of a blustery day here. A lot of energies lately have been coming through. And, that's another thing to know. Any gifts that come with your pre-order of your Oracle deck, for those of you who pre-ordered, are bathed in the energies of Mount Shasta. So if you get a little crystal or something, or stone, anything that comes with your deck will have energetics from Mount Shasta pronounced in it. So, okay, let's pull up the map, and please shout out where you are, and your beautiful Stephanie will shout you out.
So welcome Toronto, Canada, and San Francisco, California, and hello Mom from North Bend. And we have Mexico, Price, Utah, Wells, UK. Welcome everyone.
And shout out where in the world you are, and if you don't have a blue dot on this grid map.
Welcome Norway.
All right, Norway is in the house. You don't have a blue dot already. When someone new to the grid pops up, we add a little blue dot.
And is that another one from Norway? Welcome.
The Norwegians are in the house. All right, beautiful. Keep shouting out where in the world you are right now.
We have Ontario, Canada, Niagara region. We have Portugal. Hello. And welcome, everyone.
So far, a lot of Europe and North America coming in. Usually we have a little bit of African energy and sometimes
Turkey.
Thailand. Oh, Turkey is in the house.
Welcome.
Beautiful. Yeah, Stephanie created an energetic field before we went live, so those of you who are very sensitive, you might be able to feel the rose ray being active, and she's been holding beautiful energy. Okay, So we will continue to shout out those who arrive, those who are late to the party, so to speak. So yes, again, to 21111. So kind of interesting numbers for today, or 22, and then 4 ones. So yes, and we are now going to read we're going to. Jadon Se has drawn a card from the Oracle deck for all of you. So we'll go ahead and do a reading of that. Let's see. His draw for us today. Oops, these are the Oracle decks. Those are the physical decks, and we have them available in the wooden boxes as well as the homemade boxes, and we're also providing them with a little mesh baggie, a little cosmic mesh baggie. I think it looks like this. Yeah, there. So the deck can come in various ways, and we do have it in the Soul Connection store here in Mount Shasta. If you're ever in Mount Shasta, look for it in there. Okay, our card reading for today is, well, I should probably just drop into channel, and Jadon Se can read it for you all. I am Jadon Se, Golden Dragon of the Third Arc of Consciousness, and this is another gathering of questions for the dragon. Dear ones, we gather every Saturday at 1111 Pacific Time, 11:11 a.m. in your Pacific Time, in your way of reckoning time. How quaint. Dear ones, this gathering is, let us say, an important one. More on that in a moment. Your Stephen's interest is being piqued right now. This is a surprise to him. Dear ones, here is your card reading for the day. As a group, those of you who have given permission to be part of this energetic reading, just an inward permission is necessary. Then, dear ones, card is for you all. Card number 2, dear ones. Regain your power. Let us say you are not in trouble. We are not saying you're weaklings or anything like this. It is simply, in this moment of now, it is important for those of you to understand that so often your service, your caring and concern for others, dear ones, can make you very reactionary. When you are reacting to others' energies, you are not fully in your own sovereignty, so to speak. Response is more creative than reaction, let us say. When you are reactionary, dear ones, you disconnect with your own purpose and creativity. Now it is time for you to regain your own inner power so you can truly be of service to others, dear ones. It is never selfish for you to stand in your own truth and power. This is, let us say, a prerequisite to being of service. For when you are not standing in your own truth and power, authenticity, your service is weak indeed. Drawing this card, dear ones, means that it's time to call back your power. Call back every piece of yourself you have ever given away. This is an important thing to do, dear ones. Remember the last time you felt truly free and standing fully in your own light. Dear ones, this is your birthright. This is the truth of you. Call it back. Stand in it. Live it. And this is the best way to then be of service to others, dear ones. It is important for you to understand that there is, we will speak more on the energetics of this moment in time from your way of seeing. However, let us say that many of you are ready for more. Let us just say that if you have been contemplating changes or building greater dreams for yourself, perhaps you have gained an awareness that your dreams have been small. You have been focused on little paltry things, tinsel, so to speak, some little thing that I want, or more money in my bank account, or something like this. Dear ones, these are small dreams. These are not the big picture of you. So let us just say you are ready for more. No matter where you have had your focus, you can always aim higher than this. You can always go to the highest good for you, let us say, the ideal. And the word ideal, do you notice it has idea embedded within it? It is like making an idea real. The ideal. Dear ones, you are ready for this. Do not be ashamed or afraid to reach for the ideal, the greatest, highest good. This is, again, not selfish, for so long as your highest good is in line with the highest good of all and in line with the highest of the divine, for you, let us just say, this is your highest, greatest good, the ideal situation for all involved. Dear ones, especially you, do not leave yourself out of the ideal ever. It comes from and through you. So therefore, if you leave yourself out, it is not ideal. Dear ones, recognize now, be alert for signs from the above, let us say, signs from the divine, signs from your higher, greater self, your inner guidance, your spirit guides, masters, angels, yes, dear ones, your dragons. Let us just not be distracted and miss these signs and guidance. Dear ones, divine guidance is something that is always ready to help. Let us just say it is only you who makes a habit of ignoring the divine guidance. It is always a whisper, and very seldom is it a shout. Occasionally something magical will happen that is similar to a shout, for it will seem like some miracle occurred. This is divine guidance that say had to get a little louder for you to notice, for you have been distracted, dear ones. Every single one of you have been distracted and have missed signs from the divine, let us say. Stay alert and be open to this guidance, dear ones. And some of you have been looking upon occurrences within your life as negative, or let us say setbacks or obstacles. Dear ones, we are here to say they are none such. They are blessings in disguise. Every single one of these happenings or seeming obstacles, seeming frictions in your life, has a gift in it for you, dear ones, a blessing in disguise. So, be ready, dear ones. Be alert to this. Call back your power. You are ready for more. Aim higher, dear ones. Recognize that there are signs from the divine around you at all times. And know that when something seems like a negative experience, there is a gift in it for you, if you are clever enough to find it, or alert enough, or creative enough to understand. Dear ones, this is your reading for now. Regain your power, dear ones, and that is how. Beautiful. We will open up the chat for questions for the dragon, either relating to what has been read here or any general questions. We simply ask that they be of interest to all of those gathered. Please, no questions of a highly personal nature that are not of interest to those gathered. We are looking for, let us say, the question behind the question whenever any question is posted. So also be aware of what is driving your questions as you ask them, dear ones. Your dearest Stephanie will pick them out and pull them up for us to discuss.
I do want to. So Light of the Morning is sharing, thank you, dear Stephanie, for tuning me in to Dr. and Master Zhigang Sha And yeah, I do recommend. He's a very high level healer, and there's just things you can tune into for free or blessings there. He has drsha.com, and he also has a Facebook page and a YouTube channel for so many things. So I'm glad you mentioned that, Light of the Morning. And yeah, Master Shah, yep, SHA, yep. So I'm glad you found that. I've been on a journey with Master Shah for about 10 years, and it's pretty extraordinary.
Dear one, she is being very humble. She has been on this journey for much longer than 10 years.
Yeah. Okay. So Home Drawn is sharing, my goodness, my app has drawn the same card this morning as this reading. And, yeah.
Dear ones, let us just say that many of you have come to the understanding that there is no such thing as a coincidence in the way it is meant by your common vernacular. Oh, it is just a coincidence. It may be what you call a coincidence, an incident that happens in a co-creative way, let us say. It may be indeed that it is a co-creative incidence. However, it is not just a coincidence. There is nothing to be dismissed about anything that occurs. There is always a message within anything that appears. You do not need to, let us say, try to wring a message out of everything like you would wring water out of an old cloth. You do not need to exert, let us say, a lot of attention and mental stress or any of this in finding the messages. Just be open, dear ones, to messages that are there for you in every seeming coincidence. Let us just say that there are always gifts coming at all times if you are ready to accept them. So this was not just a coincidence. It was a co-creation, dear ones. This is not the first time this has happened to your home drawn. Let us read deeper into this, Mr. David, home drawn. Why do you think it is that your personal card is so often the same card that is read to the group, to the dragon brothers and sisters who are gathering here? What does this say to you? There is a message within that as well, waiting for you. Beautiful.
Oh, it's some more extended sharing with Home Drawn. So Home Drawn is also sharing. I always get a boost from these synchronicities like this. Thanks for the extra guidance, Jadon Se.
Dear ones, there's a reason why they are called synchronicities. Many of you are, let us say, have not picked that one apart. Synchronizing. You remember in these old times, people wore wristwatches, and they would go on adventures together. They would say, synchronize your watches so that you can be connected through the moments of now, etc. It is like this. The synchronicities, they are synchronized with your beingness on purpose from the divine.
Aaron Darvish, Jadon Se, at what arc of consciousness is geometry a language of neutrality which can be used for light or dark programming?
Dear ones, let us just say that sacred geometry is of the light and is not for dark programming. If you are speaking of dark magic that uses certain geometries and things like this, that is in a whole different league, far, 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 far below, and much, much smaller and weaker than true sacred geometries, dear ones. Your Metatron, Archangel of Sacred Geometry, let us say, is paying attention to this conversation right now. Any who have ever used geometries for dark purposes, even evoking these words in the same sentence with geometry, dear ones, has gotten the notice of the universe. It is, let us say, not only the universe, the multiverse. You are not in trouble, Aaron Darvish. It is just that when you put these together in a sentence, that sentence is entered into records in the halls of eternity. And because of this, there are beings that catch the notice of this. And so let us be very careful and clarify quite in a pronounced way that sacred geometry is always for divine purposes, the light in the grand arc of beingness. Sometimes any dark energy may feel like it is not of the divine. Dear ones, even the darkness circles back to the light. And so every experience in the end is a divine experience. And we will just say that the arc of consciousness for sacred geometry is from the second arc and third arcs of consciousness. Let us just say that arc and archangel are implying that, let us say that the word arc is a purpose of the divine. You might say a thought of God, or a thought of the divine, or a purpose of the divine. An arc, so you have archetypes, you have archangels, arcs of consciousness, the grand arc of time, the arc of beingness, even things like the Ark of the Covenant, and even something like Noah's Ark, though it may be spelled a little differently. All of these imply that there was a divine hand at work, reaching all the way up where to the highest arc of consciousness, unity consciousness. And dear ones, sacred geometries are arcs of the divine. They are, let us say, mathematical and deep encodings within all sacred geometries that show the patterns and beautiful wisdoms beyond words. Dear ones, let us just say it goes all the way to the very top, most often worked with at the archangel level through Archangel Metatron and any of the agencies of Archangel Metatron. Yes, dear ones, Archangel Metatron has a dragon, and this dragon is known for working with the geometries. And dear ones, there are beings cascading into the realms of eternity through the agency of your Metatron. Yes, you, some of you, we feel your thoughts. Some of you believe that there is a corrupted version of Metatron. And dear ones, this is, if you look for this, there is a corrupted version of everything if you invoke those words. So let us just set aside any thoughts, any dark thoughts, once again, of corruption. There is a pure and unadulterated, so to speak, sacred geometries coming from the purest of the pure, Archangel Metatron. And dear ones, they cast these beautiful divine synchronicities, not only synchronicities, divine geometries and synchronicities that are tied to those geometries, echo through all of the arcs of consciousness, all the way into the most dense, and the grand arc of beingness brings them ever back to the light.
Rosa P. is asking, at this time, should we not be trusting our own guidance?
Dear ones, what is your own guidance? Now there is a question, and how do you know that what feels like the right thing to do is coming from your own guidance? Dear ones, let us just say there is a beautiful understanding that can come from exploring this question, the question behind the question. Is divine guidance your own guidance? Now, there is a deep question. And is the divine you? Are you divine? Are you connected with the divine? Are you of the light? Are you a spark of the divine? Dear ones, whose guidance is divine guidance? Now there is a question. We will not just answer this, for this is an exploration every being must undertake. What is myself with a small lowercase s, and what is myself with an uppercase S? What is divine? What is Christ consciousness? Dear ones, this is a journey each must take at their own level, so there is no one answer for all.
There is a question from Alba Charta 7879. From which realm do unicorns originate and what is their role on Earth?
Dear ones, when you ask where a spirit originates, from which realm, there is only one seeming realm that you can point to that spirits do spirits even have an origin and an end? Are we going to impose some sort of linear timeline on a spirit, on a beingness, and say, where did God originate from? Where did the divine originate from? Where was the original spark of beingness? Dear ones, these are, you are trying to impose time upon the timeless. And when you do this, there are always misunderstandings. You do this with spaces as well, realms, so to speak, trying to impose them upon, we can even say, the realmless, because the beingness of a unicorn can appear in virtually any realm. Let us just say that if you ask where any being originates from, there is already a misunderstanding inherent in the question. So delve into that. Do beings originate? That is a question. And what is their role on Earth? Dear ones, it's like saying, what is the role of a human being on Earth? How many roles can we speak of in one sitting? So many that it would make your head spin. It is the same for unicorns. If you are looking for some overarching theme to their role, let's say a commonality of the role of unicorns is bringing light. Bringing more clarity of light, more, let us say, focus of light and understanding. There is a reason why your unicorns have this single horn that comes to a point. And have you noticed, dear ones, that the horn is spiraled? It is like a vortex coming to a singular point. Dear ones, oftentimes the light of the unicorns is focused upon that point. Do you realize, is there a message in that? This vortex of energy bringing light into a sharp focus, into a highly concentrated point. Dear ones, many of you are getting shivers up your spine right now, for you are remembering some of your own unicorn essence and energies coming through this discussion right now. Dear ones, that is a golden horn on the unicorns. It is not always shown in pure gold, and it is, dear ones, it is a golden white light. This is the golden white light of the divine vortex into a singular point of clarity, the clarity of good. Let us just say that there are so many purposes that you could shake a stick at the stars in the sky and not even come close to understanding the purposes of all unicorns. However, the commonality is the focus of light.
Anita Maria 499 is asking about the golden future. Are we building a future that is even better than Lemuria?
Dear one, question is right on time, let us say. The golden age that we have spoken of so often. At the beginning of this gathering, there was a hint that something important is happening. Dear ones, there are, let us just say, that those of you who are interested in celestial alignments and celestial this and that, astrology and astrological alignments, and oftentimes there are these highly mental guardrails upon astrology. Your Uranus has this energy and your Saturn has that energy, and when they get together, these things happen. And dear ones, do you realize that this is like a very dry mental narrative that you hear, often devoid of deep feeling? And this is one of the reasons why your Jadon Se is restoring the word celestify. Celestify is the love of the stars. And it is not only you loving the stars, it is love streaming in from the stars, dear ones. So often it is forgotten that stars are conscious beings, that they are brilliant beings of divine presence, dear ones. Yes, they are portals and gateways. They open up networks and avenues of travel and understanding and feelings, yes, deep feelings, connections to great central suns that are connected to even greater central suns, eventually connected to what you would call the greatest of central suns. And dear ones, they are also very aware of you. When you gaze upon a star, it is immediately aware of your gaze, and there is a connection that can be made. It is not a connection of mental dry alignments of celestial bodies. It is a direct connection with the stars of feeling, dear ones. This golden age, let us just say that white light alone is a certain quality of light. It's beautiful. When there is a golden edge or a golden sparkle to the light, when it is a golden white light, that gold, let us say, is the feeling that comes along with the connection of divine light, that deep connection, unity consciousness traveling with feeling, dear ones, with deep feeling, divine love even, you might say. And so this golden age, dear ones, must be an age of feeling, of passion, of deep understanding, celestify. Dear ones, connect to the love of the cosmos. Connect to the love that shines from your own central sun, your heart. Connect, dear ones, to that beingness that is you, the love that is you. And this is what brings forth the golden age. Dear ones, love each other, love one another appropriately, of course, without expectations or longings or leanings. Just love. Celebrate beings for who and what they are in every moment. And this golden age truly dawns at the very moment you make this a habit. And it spreads, dear ones. This is contagious. This sort of celebration of every life as a life of the divine in that avatar, in that being, in that story. Dear ones, this portal you are standing in right now is a great opportunity for you to make that consciousness into a habit, into a remembrance of a way of being. For you have walked in that that golden light many times. It will be very familiar as you stride forth into the golden age, by celebrating the life of every being that you come in contact with, even the ones that seem like they are having a little TT, like the little child child having a tantrum. They might be a full-grown man in some office above Wall Street in your New York City, and you can see this man trying to be powerful and be having this meltdown or anger or something, and you'll see this person newly as like a child having a tantrum, and you will feel compassion. Oh, this will pass. It will be okay. And you can have compassion and love for even someone who seems to be acting inappropriately, dear ones. So this is the dawn of the golden age. There is a great portal opening right now for each of you to remember the golden future that we are building, a future that is even better than Lemuria indeed. For Lemuria was the groundwork for what is coming, dear ones.
Aaron Darvish is asking, Jadon Se, how was Giant's Causeway in Ireland created, and what is behind the swinging stone door people witnessed?
Dear ones, there are, let us say, many different dimensions to this question, and let us try to keep questions that are of interest to everyone gathered here. This is famous enough that perhaps a number of you will understand the Giant's Causeway. Let us say that the dry 3D explanation on that level is that it is just columnar basalt, which happens in many different places throughout this Gaia. As basalt cools, it is like mud cooling, and you have these hexagonal cracks that appear as the mud contracts, and it is the same with stone. Stone, as it cools and contracts, and these fissures and cracks appear that are hexagonal. Why? Because that is the sacred geometry that distributes stresses equally, and this is why your water has hexagonal snowflakes and shapes. And dear ones, we can go on and on about this. And so this is your 3D dry representation. There are legends and myths of giants having built a causeway between Ireland and your Fingal's Cave in Scotland, and there is a similar columnar basalt formation on that side in Scotland, and the legend has it that there were these two giants. One built a causeway, and one giant went across, the Irish giant went across this causeway and got beaten up by a Scottish giant, and had more respect for the Scots and all of this. And there are these beautiful stories about this that have sprung up, dear ones. There are associations with Merlin the magician. There are associations with sacred geometries, and yes, your Metatron, for these are mostly hexagonal shaped stones that are there. And dear ones, your Stephen has stood on the Giant's Causeway in your Ireland and felt into it, and there are deep feelings that go very deep indeed. And one of the most important things for dragon keepers to understand is that places that have this columnar basalt are always dragon nodes. There is something for you. It is always when you are standing on one of these that you are standing on a dragon node. Why? Well, there are several reasons for this. Feel into the hexagonal balance of stresses and hexagon shapes in general, and you will start to understand. And each of you can have a different understanding from simply standing in one of these places. There is a waterfall, a holy sacred waterfall, not far from where your Stephen and Stephanie are, called Hedge Creek Falls of columnar basalt, water cascading over it. You can stand in a cave behind where the water is falling, and there are so many dragon energies in that place. Dear ones, if you just stand behind that waterfall, you can work the entire dragon lines of earth from that position. And dear ones, there are many of these columnar basalt formations. Many of them have strange names, like your Devil's Post Pile and things like this. Beings look upon these and think they must be created by some sort of spiritual presence, and unfortunately, the priesthood of patriarchy often makes associations with darkness. And dear ones, these are dragon nodes. Work them wisely.
Light of the morning is sharing. Much gratitude, sibling. When we feel the importance of a future date, how much importance should we place upon that, and how do we seek out the guidance to align our path to it?
Dear ones, humans and their linear time. It is quaint and fun to speak of. For when you look to the future, it is like looking up the arc of a lightning bolt, dear ones. It is not, there is not a line that is going from you into this future date. It is like roots of a tree or branches of a tree spreading off from where you stand. And there are so many choices that can bring so many different futures, plural. And yes, there's, let us say, from your story, your experience of your story, it seems like there is only one choice made, and you turn left or right at the fork of the road. And yes, I made that choice, and then I turned left, and then I turned right. And it seems like there is this breadcrumb trail that is your story. No, dear ones, your story is in every branch of that bolt of lightning, all the way to where it forks into the distance and then some. And dear ones, this is why many of you experience deja vu. For many of you go back and rewind, so to speak. Wait, let me go back to that last fork and try the other choice and see where that leads me. And as you go back to that place that you feel you have stood in before, there is this strange feeling of interdimensional timelessness that many of you call deja vu, and you can get this in your dream realms and in many ways of, let us say, stepping outside of linear time will give you these visions and feelings. And let us just say that if you are, there is something we have spoken of before. It is called target fixation. If you are a pilot flying a small plane and you see a mountain top and it's poking up out through the clouds, and you let us say if you stare at it long enough you will fly right into it. This is how it works when you are looking at some future date like this. It becomes a target fixation for you, and the more that you fixate upon it, the more likely you will arrive at that place. Do you see how it works? When you see the importance of some future date, perhaps you had a vision of a future happenstance or what have you, precognition they call this, and this is because you are target fixated upon that eventual future, and the more you fixate upon it, the more it is more certain to become your experience. Just like the pilot. The pilot may not wish to fly into the mountaintop and may simply realize, this is a landmark, this is that or this mountain, the only thing I see sticking out of the clouds, so now that I have this as my point of reference, I won't stare at it and fly towards it. I will use it as a point of reference to guide myself to some other destination. Do you see how it is always a choice, dear ones? You are not doomed to a future. You are not destined to experience any one moment of now, dear ones. You can choose it, and that is the closest thing to destiny, is your choice.
Naya Jenkins, 8602, Jadon Se. Please, could you give us some information on triple rose code carriers and their relationship to dragons?
Dear ones, some of these questions are getting a little obscure for many who are gathered here. We will just say that let us let us just be a little cryptic here without violating anyone's privacy. We are going to say that there are beings who carry the rose ray and carry the codes that are transmitted by the rose ray. And dear ones, let us just say that even some crystals can carry rose energy. You are very familiar of your rose quartz. Many of you use rose quartz for bringing more love or joy to a place, or clearing energies that can only be cleared with a loving rose energy. And dear ones, so there are beings that are very much like this rose quartz. Their very presence carries a rose light, and all of the codes of love and divinity and divine feminine energies that accompany deep wisdoms that accompany this rose ray, this rose light. And there are a few very, let us say, special beings that carry double and triple rose codes. Let us say let us say that every being is interdimensional, multidimensional, and just as you can have, say you are you have a person who is on one dimension, they are a pediatrician, on another dimension they are a soccer coach for their children's school, on another dimension they are a father or a lover or a best friend, or you get the picture. There are so many dimensions to this one person, and in the same way, dear ones, you can have dimensions of rose wisdom flowing through a being. Some of them obvious and some of them highly subtle, dear ones. So we will not go too deeply into this, other than to say the relationship with dragons, dear ones. Dragons are related and connected with pretty much every realm that you can imagine and work with. And because of this, there are Sophia dragons that are deeply connected with the rose energies. They are deeply connected. Even their breath is a rose breath, dear ones. There is even in this deck of your oracle cards, the Jadon Se oracle cards, there is a rose breath blessing that indeed is related to your triple rose code carrier that you are mentioning. Let us not get too obscure and go down too many rabbit holes, just to say that the divine feminine has so many different dimensions of wisdom and love and blessing that flow forth, and these are of them. And there are a few special beings, let us say, special in that they are aware that they are triple rose code carriers, as you say. They are aware that their past, future, and present are all intertwined with the rose light.
Barno Barry Batspec 1471 is asking, what is false light?
Dear ones, let us just say that there are many who, let us say, are still focusing on external power, let us say, what they think is power. And so when you focus your own sense of power to the external, it is always reflected back in one way, shape, or form to you, for there is no external power. Let us just say that the external mirrors what is happening internally. And so if you have an internal conflict where you feel disempowered or something like this, then oftentimes you will transfer your sense of power externally. So many people do this when they go to doctors, and they wish for someone wearing the white lab coat with the stethoscope hanging over their shoulder to pronounce something about their health. They have done this. then. They have externalized their power to this medical authority, and so many beings do this. This is a form of externalizing the own light of your truth, the truth of your own health, your own beingness. So therefore, this white lab coat is a reflection only. It is not the true light of health. It is a false light, you might call it. It is a reflection of the light that you gave away, reflecting it back to you so that hopefully you will understand that you cannot give it away. You have simply tricked yourself into thinking this white lab coat has the power over your own health. And so, dear ones, it is, let us just say, this can be mirrored in so many different ways. False light. So, if you had a hologram that was projected up into the clouds of Master Yeshua descending from the heavens and pronouncing things to those on earth and saying, you must do this or that, and say it was simply a hologram of someone who was just trying to grab up power and scare the masses into doing something that they wanted, well, this would be a false light, would it not? It would be falsehood. So when you purposefully take your consciousness and deceive, this is a false light. You're shining a false light. It is like an apparition. It is only a reflection of some inner truth that is distorted in the external. So your phantom matrix, people love to call this the matrix or something, this false reality that is projected by authorities and false histories that are put forth by, let us say, archaeologists and historians who are falling to their own baser desires and need for funding or this or that, or buying into a false narrative. They are propagating and perpetuating a false light, a false history. This is a false light. There are so many false lights, dear ones. It is always, always because you are externalizing the truth.
Double KAI 888 is asking, what is a practice we could do to make our throat chakra spin more at ease and work better?
Dear ones, many of you light workers have trauma from connected lifetimes, being healers, being wise ones, guides, shamans, and spiritual way showers, you might say. And because of this, because you have come to bust systems and move the needle towards the light, for so many connected lifetimes, dear ones, you have been burned at the stake. And so many of you, it is because of speaking truth to power that you came to an abrupt end, or were banished or shamed or publicly executed, etc. And so many, dear ones, of you who have been in those connected lifetimes being of great service to humanity and the greater ascension. So many of you had your throats cut in public, in front of others, for speaking truth to power. And this becomes, let us say, a trauma or a scar that you carry as you come back again and again to move the needle and bust even more systems and speak even more truth to power. Many of you, dear ones, who have done this so many times, carry extra weight on your bodies so that you are not, let us say, as likely to have these sorts of injuries. You might have a thick neck or a smaller neck, or you might have trouble speaking your truth to power. You might have taken up a posture of being shy, or let us say socially disconnected, or socially withdrawing, and the quiet one in the corner who says very little. And oftentimes when you do speak, there are deep wisdoms that come out of you, and then you are very careful whom you speak these to, because why? You have had lifetimes ended abruptly or greatly curtailed because of speaking this truth to power. And so, it is not just as simple as making some chakra spin, dear ones. What it is feeling into these stories of you, connected lifetimes. If you object to connected lifetimes and you insist on past lives, it is fine. Just do what you might call past life regressions or dreamings or visions into connected lifetimes where you did this great service to humanity and perhaps had your throat cut and your life ended abruptly. And feel into this, dear ones. What is important to feel into is that you knew what would happen. You knew that you are going to have your life cut short, and you realized that this was a good death. This was going to make a big difference. Becoming a martyr in this way was going to open eyes to the truth that you spoke to power in a way that if you had just spoken it and everyone just yawned and walked away, it would be truth spoken that was forgotten and not understood. However, because you had your throat cut publicly or something like this, you were hanged at the neck or burned at the stake or something, dear ones, people remembered this. They felt it. They felt the truth that you spoke. If it was so powerful that it got that person killed, martyred in front of everyone, there must be something to this. There must be something the authorities are afraid of. There must be some truth to this. And so, dear ones, so often it is a healing that is needed through connected life work, you might say, or it is like when you hear someone speak of doing inner child work where you connect your inner child. You can connect to connected lifetimes in exactly the same way where you are speaking this truth to power and making such a beautiful difference in the long arc of time, the long arc of the story of this world. And dear ones, your service is recorded and celebrated. And so as you learn to celebrate it, then you can start to heal this throat chakra issue you are speaking of. Your voice will get clearer. You will realize that you are no longer in that kind of danger. You can speak your truth to power in this time, in this world, in this story, and you will not get your throat cut, or at worst you might get shunned, or what is this they say, canceled on social media or something. This is the modern example of having someone's throat cut these days, being canceled on social media. So it is a paper tiger. It cannot truly hurt you. It is just an echo of the past. So this is not about spinning chakras. This is about healing, dear ones.
Daisy Tam 972 is asking, Jadon Se, how does one be in one's full power, authenticity, and when to share one's point of view, being respectful of one's audience to reduce triggering possible retaliation or backlash?
There is a very simple way to do this, dear ones. That is, read the room. Yes, learn to read the room. Before you speak something, you can feel into whether it will be received correctly, or there is no correct or incorrect. Receive the way that you are intending it to be received, let us say. You can feel into whether or not it is appropriate in that moment that that being is receptive to this authenticity, this expression of your full power. Dear ones, one who is truly powerful does not need to express their power. They simply live it. It is a groundedness. It is, let us say, they just embody it, and it is within their own being. It does not need to be projected outward. So you can sit and speak in your own power and authenticity, and also have an awareness of when it is appropriate. Yes, so being respectful of one's one's audience to reduce triggering. Feel into this, dear ones. This is, let us say that respect is the key. Respect the journey that each being is on, and try to feel into it. So, how do you feel into not only being respectful from a mental standpoint? It is called compassion. Dear ones, when you can feel for that person, even though you may not agree with why they are feeling sad or angry or what have you, you can still understand that they are sad, they are angry, they are, let us say it is a political discussion, and they are very easily triggered by any sort of political viewpoint that is opposing the one that they so obviously hold. And so, dear ones, let us say that the trigger is obvious there. All you need to do is speak an opposing political view and they will be triggered immediately. You can have compassion that they have been so, let us say, taken by some political viewpoint that they feel is their own, that they are holding, in some ways perhaps even brainwashed or tricked or deceived into thinking something is real, or to feeling only one side of the equation. And so, dear ones, you can feel a deep compassion for that person and understand that bringing up that triggering subject for them is likely to shut them down and make them less receptive to the discussion. So you can be a little more gentle with how you broach these subjects, or perhaps it is better to wait for the right opportunity to even speak of this subject. Perhaps it is the best opportunity when they are beholding two children playing, and you can bring it up to say, oh yes, that one on the left reminds me of this political figure, and the one on the right reminds me of this other political figure, and then this is an illustrative way that is humorous to bring up a very serious subject. And so, dear ones, use your own creativity and, yes, compassion to navigate this.
Somebody is asking, Dear Jadon Se, there is a historical site in Turkey called
Göbekli Tepe.
Göbekli Tepe. Did the people living there cover it with soil? If so, why did they cover it? Thank you very much.
Dear ones, this is a beautiful archaeological site, let us say. Dear ones, this place, this Göbekli Tepe, which in Turkey means, or in the Turkish local language of that place means pot-bellied hill. It is, yes, dear ones, many of the archaeologists are scratching their heads because it was fairly obviously buried after so much work to create this amazing site and all of this wonder. Strange that it was buried, dear ones. So much more work to even bury it than it was to create it to begin with, which is another head scratcher for your archaeologists. Dear ones, we will just say that there are multidimensional stories at work here, and one that each of you is prepared to at least entertain. This dragon will tell, will weave the story. Dear ones, it was foreseen, as in your stories in the Bible, the divine approached your Noah and said that there would be a great flood coming, and you must gather up creatures for this great ark and build this great ark and preserve this, let us say, the lineage of beingnesses. We know, dear ones, that this is metaphor in many ways and truth in many ways as well. Dear ones, let us just say that your Göbekli Tepe was very similar to your Noah's Ark. It was foreseen that a great flood would come, great calamity that may even cleanse 99% of the life forms from the surface of the planet. And since it was foreseen that this would happen, great stories. Let us just say that there was a time capsule. We will call Gobekli Tepe a time capsule. Mm, mm. So there was a great gathering. Let us put into a place that is most likely to survive this calamity, be very proximal to where life will begin to thrive again after this calamity, in a place where it might be seen and understood and unburied at some point, and what will be transmitted will need to be in stone, for it needs to survive this cataclysm. So we will encode a lot of knowledge and wisdom from our understanding that we wish let us say, those who come after us, who survive this great calamity, to gain back this understanding. Let us say it was encoded into stone and then buried on purpose so that the waves may wash over it without toppling the stones, and in a place where the waves would not be as strong as they would be in most of the planet. And dear ones, so this is a great, your Gobekli Tepe is, we will call it a time capsule of great wisdom understanding. There are, let us say, deep wisdoms that will need to be decoded, that you are not even sophisticated enough yet as a species to decode the information that is stored there. There is geometrical information and celestial encodements, and not only just alignments of celestials, but a history of the stars is encoded there, a history of the beings who have been involved with this world, that live amongst the stars, is encoded there. Their interactions with the beings upon this planet are encoded in this place. And yes, there are records of animals in case they had gone completely extinct by this event, and some of these animals even are extinct, that are encoded there and were extincted by this cataclysm. Dear ones, many of them survived, but it was, let us say, this beautiful time capsule is yet to be even unburied, let alone decoded. The unburying is the easiest part of it. The decoding of the great wisdom there will take a long time, let us say, from your way of seeing things.
Double KAI 888. Is there any dragon ley lines in New York City? If yes, where? I really want to visit one.
Dear ones, those of you who have taken working with Dragon Energies Level 1 have done a module on dragon lines and working the dragon lines and working with these energies and understandings that flow along these lines. And so let us just say that dragon lines are not exactly just perfectly linear lines that go from one place to another. You need to feel into them, and they change with changing conditions. Much like an ancient riverbed, you can look at where the river once flowed and where it is flowing today, and they are not static, they are not stuck in place. They transmit energies, and very much like lightning, or water flowing down a hill or a mountain, the path of least resistance, let us say, is where the energy flows. And so dragon lines are very much like this. You do not just identify one and then that is it forever. It is always going to be in this place. No, dear ones, they are constantly moving, and so you need to become aware. You need to get the ability to feel into the dragon energies, and you will be the one who pronounces where this dragon line is and where it's flowing to and from, whether or not you are on the intersection of lines, nodes, etc. You will become the keeper of the dragon node of that place, and so you can even move, let us say, your own dragon node around. Many of you carry obsidian or a crystal with you, or in your car or something like this, and without even knowing it are doing great work with the dragon grid lines, and some of you are doing this consciously. And dear ones, Do not think of them think of dragon lines as lines that are fixed in place. Think of them as flows of energy, like a river. And how do you know where the river is the strongest? Well, dear ones, you visit the river. You experience it for yourself, and the river's conditions will change depending on the rain, what season it is, and all of this. This is what dragon lines are truly like. If you wish to learn more, take Working with Dragon Energies Level 1. There is let us say, a module that is focused on this, and for those who want more advanced knowledge, there is more coming. We will be doing a class that focuses 100% on dragon lines.
Aaron Darvish, Jadon Se, why can't no one climb Mount Kailash?
Dear ones, people climb Mount Kailash all the time, and beings live in and on that mountain, dear ones. It is just for you to say that perhaps commoner people, common being 3D human beings, and even most 4D human beings are not resonating in appropriate resonance with, they are not vibrating in appropriate resonance with the beings who live in and upon Mount Kailash. It is a living temple mountain, let us say. There are highly advanced spiritual beings who keep a presence there, and many who are, let us say, learning to become more advanced on, or are remembering how to become more spiritually advanced, so to speak, spiritually aware and alert and operational, so to speak, are able to visit there, and some of them only for in their dream time or for a moment, or dear ones, there are beautiful stories of masters who live there, and even 3D looking type mountain climbers climbing up to them and saying, "I've been looking for you forever, master, please teach me." And the master says, "Throw yourself from that cliff and we will see if you are worthy." And the 3D like person reveals that they are not just a 3D mountain climber, that they have been on a spiritual journey for lifetimes, many lifetimes, you might say, and without hesitation they hurl themselves right off the cliff, and then the master says, "Bring that broken body back to me," and then brings the person back to life, and then they live there. This is how it works. It is you must resonate in a correct way to even approach this place, and many do.
Leslie Lightquesta 130. Dear Jadon Se, how do we use the scalar technologies affect the development of our natural abilities and light bodies, please?
Dear ones, what you will not hear about when you hear people speaking of scalar energy, scalar waves, these longitudinal waves that are often perpendicular to other energy forces, that let us just say that there is a dry scientific exploration of scalar waves, and then there is the deep realization that your own bodies emit scalar waves. When you see a beautiful kitten that is so adorable, and the only thing you can do is say, "Aww," because the kitten is so adorable. Are you aware, dear ones, that when you say that awe and you are feeling this and your heart is melting and you are in pure love and connection with this little being, in pure celebration, and love is permeating through you, you are emitting scalar waves that are blessing those around you in so many ways. Dear ones, one person looking at a cute little kitten saying "aw" can be measured hundreds of kilometers away from that location. The heart resonance field can be detected from that far away, and it is just that those who are detecting it do not know how to decode what just happened. They do not realize it was just this person saying "aw" about a kitten, and it is, let us just say that there is this tendency for humanity to think that technology and devices are their way out of a situation. This is, for a time, it was beautiful, dear ones. In times of survival, your technologies have helped so much, have forwarded your lifestyle and your living conditions, and have allowed you to understand that your own sovereign power can be expressed externally through technologies, yes. And so there are beings who are working with these scalar technologies to create healing chambers and even weapons, dear ones. And yes, even what you would call UFOs have been shot down by scalar wave beam weapons. And you have also had people healed from cancer using scalar technologies. And what is the same with all technology is that it is training wheels, dear ones. It is just a little crude little toy that is meant to show you a deeper truth of your own beingness, your own ability to transmit, emit, and heal and help with your own love, your own scalar waves. Those are your heart field waves radiating from your beingness, dear ones, and you do not need necessarily to focus them through a technology. It is more like using them more and more consciously that allows you, dear ones, to take this training wheel toy of some scalar healing device and realize you have always had that ability innate within you, many multitudes of times greater in magnitude than this paltry little toy. So use your own scalar waves, your own heart field, and see what happens, dear one.
Okay. John is sharing so many good questions posted by others. The answers helped me with just listening. Thank you all.
Dear ones, this is why we do this. It is not just so that a dragon can sit here answering questions. It is so that your questions percolate out to the surface. Do you see, dear ones, how the questions have been getting so much deeper and better? You see a newcomer who's here for the third week or something, and you look at the questions they asked in the first week and the second week and the third week, and the questions get deeper and deeper and deeper. This is the true work we are doing with Questions for the Dragon. It is your own exploration of your own questioning that is so important about this gathering, not so much the answers coming from the dragon. And some of the answers can be fun. Somebody might now look at Gobekli Tepe in a different way, and these answers will not come to light anytime soon with Gobekli Tepe. So it will just be a curiosity that some dragon was speaking of this many years before they were confirmed. And it is fun, but dear ones, the truth of this gathering is for you to ask deeper and deeper questions, not necessarily just for the dragon, but of your own self. This is a beautiful way for us to end this gathering for today. Thank you for joining us, and we will do shout-outs again. This time, the dragon through Stephen will do the shout-outs. It is fun also to do this. So please post where in the world you are right now, your moment of now, where upon this beautiful surface, or if you are joining us from the stars or from the inner earth, tell us where you are. Perhaps you are in one of the Agarthan cities or something. It might be fun for this gathering to understand if we have someone monitoring from a place other than the surface of this world. That could be fun. Be truthful, dear ones. Very good. We are, let us say, joined by those in North Shore, Lake Erie, Canada. Beautiful. South Africa. Thank you for joining South Africa. We were wondering if Africa was present. Beautiful. Utah is in the house. Hello, Mom. North Bend, Oregon. New York City. Yes, there are dragon lines there. We were cryptic, and you will find them. And Queensland, Australia is in the house. Turkey is in the house. Beautiful, dear ones. Surprise, Arizona. London, England. Fountain, Colorado. Beautiful energies there, dear ones. The Netherlands in the house. Switzerland is in the house. Beautiful energies. Do you feel the grid coming to life here as you become aware of your connections with these other dragon keepers? Do you feel your own hearts are making different connections that are beautiful with this? So we have 28 on this stream currently. Not 28 have checked in. It is okay though. You can be shy, some of you, and not say where you are from. Groves, Texas is in the house. Worcester, Massachusetts in the house. Faro, Portugal. Norway is in the house. I believe there are two of you in Norway. That is beautiful. And thank you, dear ones, for all of you gathering. You do make a difference. Your stories matter. And sharing your stories matters just as much. It is beautiful to have those of you who are working with the dragon lines doing so, whether consciously or unconsciously. Please carry a crystal or a piece of obsidian, or you might have something even more special in your car with you, or in your bag if you're taking the train, or take it with you on trips, and just you will know what you are guided to bring with you. It may even be a plain stone from somewhere that you feel is special, or dear ones, do this, for even if you are not consciously doing grid work, you can do just as powerful grid work guided by your higher, greater self, or seemingly your subconscious, dear ones. Do not question yourself. Why am I picking up that stone? Simply go with it, feel it. And if you feel like throwing it in some water after carrying it around for half a lifetime, just go with it if that's what feels correct. It is beautiful. You are doing grid work when you do this. And one of you has a cache of mahogany obsidian, very willing to share. Beautiful, dear ones. There is a glass mountain not far from your Stephen and Stephanie, full of obsidian, just cascading down the hillside, chunks as big as small cars of obsidian. Yes, dear ones, it's just dear ones, it does not matter how these rocks and crystals and obsidian and all of this come into your possession, so to speak. Just carry them lovingly for the time that you have with them. You are making a difference. Thank you for this. Very good. We will say goodbye for now, and we look forward to speaking with you very soon.